Hello, I'm Daisha, and welcome back to my channel. So, I don't know if you saw behind the scenes first, because this is not the first time I've sat down and recorded today, but it is the first time I sat down and talked. So, my hair was not done, and I didn't feel like talking to the camera this morning, but I am here, and this is a different video than I planned to record. So, the last couple of weeks, I've been doing a studio vlog all week long, so showing behind the scenes of my small business. This week, I was not going to do a studio vlog, and I was going to show on Saturday morning me waking up to see if I could create a product from start to finish and how long it would take me on a Saturday morning. What I did not anticipate is having not one, not two, not even three, four annotated book orders this weekend. They need to be shipped out next week. And with my work schedule, the best time to do it is the weekend. So this is definitely going to take priority. So I'm going to pivot, put that idea on the back burner, and I'm going to just talk about some things that I've learned with my small business so far, things, tips, ideas for Etsy, and stuff like that as I get these products ready. So, luckily for me, I had book club this morning and I had to finish the book club book and I was doing audio. So, it forced me to sit still. And I did finish one book, which is People We Meet on Vacation. So, the customer copy is almost done. I need to do the front page still. Another interesting thing that happened, Fourth Wing has never sold in my shop. It sells today. No, well, it didn't sell today. It sold on Wednesday, and then it also sold on Thursday after never selling before. It might have been Thursday and Friday, but it doesn't matter. So I have to do this one twice. So my thought process was, in hindsight, maybe I should have done Fourth Wing, People We Meet, the other book, and then do Fourth Wing. But I'm going to do People We Meet, Fourth Wing. The other book I need to do is Happy Place. So I'm going to do that and then switch back to Fourth Wing to kind of break it up because I don't like monotony and boring things. The issue with this one, she is thick and she has a lot of thoughts. So there's that. However, I'm up for the task. I'm about to get cozy. Like I just said, came from book club, had the best time. Love going to book club. I'm actually in two book clubs. So I have one on Saturday mornings and then I have one on Wednesday evenings, once a month. So I'm about to get cozy, set you up somewhere to record, probably watch a video. I'm just happy I got done with that book in time. So yeah, come along with me. And then hopefully Edward comes in here and works because we're definitely running low on some things and I'm not going to be able to put my energy into that. All right, come along with me, and you'll probably get some voiceover information about business stuff because I don't have the brain capacity right now for that. All right, bye. All right, here I am coming into my little studio office, and of course, I have my coffee and this blanket hoodie, which I highly recommend a blanket hoodie because it's so cozy. So, this is the part that I said I did not talk at all that morning. I was in the zone. I just wanted to come sit and have a quiet morning working. So that's what you're seeing here. And just kind of reiterating what I said in the intro, I had this whole plan. I had this idea of what I was going to do on this day, and it got completely turned around because of the orders. And I think that's an important lesson for anybody starting a small business because it's so easy to do what you want to do. Like, I truly wanted to be able to get my iPad and start sketching out some ideas for a fantasy collection, or I think I also had some different ideas for like a cowboy romance kind of collection. If I did not go ahead and prioritize these orders, I was going to be very stressed during the work week. And I truly do not have the time during the work week to make sure that they got done. So I had to pivot and use my weekend for that instead of creating the new collection. So in both scenarios, I was still working on my shop. However, this path helped me to be more successful because the hard work was already done. And did the collection get made? No. However, it was not a necessity. That was a want to do. This other one was a have to do because they were already paid for. So I think it's just important to keep your priorities over the things you want to do. So on my to-do list, I make the things that I have to do, and then I have a section that basically it's ideas of what I can do if I have time, because you're not always going to have time, and that's a hard lesson to learn. So if you're new here, you may not know this, but the platform that I sell on is Etsy. And I do think I've learned a lot about Etsy over the past 5 months. So this is September. This is my 5th month selling on Etsy. And I have really enjoyed the platform. Of course, Etsy does take a percentage of each thing that I sell, but they're also doing the marketing, helping me with that search engine optimization that I would not have on my own, because I would not have my own website and I'd have to drive my own traffic, if that makes sense. So I have enjoyed selling on Etsy, and I've, just kind of adjusted some things, tried some things out. I do feel like they change things quite often, like the title update thing that happened a couple of weeks ago. I have not messed with my titles. Really, one, because I haven't had time, but they always say do not mess with a listing that is selling. So I am leaving most of them alone, but I do plan to rework some of my sticker listings because some of them are not selling. So it would not hurt the listing because nothing is happening to it in the first place. But I do think Etsy has been successful so far. And anyone who's thinking about using Etsy, I do recommend it. So I think the important thing is just to remember, it's not about just uploading products just as fast as you can. It's also about treating this as your storefront. Make sure it looks visually, pleasing when you come in, like professional photos or professional looking photos. Obviously, I did not pay someone to take these, but making sure you put the care into it to set yourself up for success. So I can talk more about what my storefront looks like. I plan on doing an updated video of how my shop is going soon. The next lesson that I had to learn, and it was in this video specifically, is make sure you are paying yourself for your time when you list something for a certain price. So for instance, I was charging pretty much the same amount for Fourth Wing as I was People We Meet on Vacation. People We Meet on Vacation took me about an hour to do. However, Fourth Wing took me 3 hours to do. So in my opinion, they should not be priced the same because the same amount of work did not go into them. So I was just thinking about this, and obviously it's too late as of these two listings. So I'm like, what can I do to fix that? Because, you have to pay yourself for your work. So I set a timer. That's the only reason I knew how long it took me for each one. After setting the timer, I did some research on my costs for supplies, and then also factored in my time. And that helped me to be able to correctly charge the right amount for the book. So that way I'm not, being overworked for certain listings and I'm not really getting paid for that listing. So that was a hard lesson that I had to learn, because I do like to try to keep my prices, what I see is low, because I know as a consumer, I also like to buy things, but I don't always have the money. But also, I have to make sure that I'm paying myself for my time. So if you feel like that's something that you struggle with, if you feel like that's something that you need to look at, take the time to really sit around and think about the time you're putting into your products. Because remember, this is your business, and your business should serve you, not the other way around. So make sure you're compensating yourself for your time and paying yourself fairly. Another thing that I've been struggling with and trying to find the best balance is batching, time management, things like that for efficiency. So I try to batch my tasks so that way I can be the most productive, but some things do take precedence over others. So like even in this video, I had mentioned that I wasn't going to annotate Fourth Wing back to back, but what I found is the paperback copy that I bought for the customer did not line up with my hardback copy that I own. So page numbers were different, and then also the layout was different. So it was very hard for me to take my copy and annotate the new copy because I was actually having to find the right lines to annotate. So when I did the first customer copy, I ended up using that copy to annotate the second copy for the customer because those were the same, and that was going to allow me to work faster because I wasn't going to have to do the same process again with making sure it lined up. And that really helped me. So originally, like I said, I did not want to do the same book back to back. Like I don't like doing that because it just feels very boring. Also, it was on a different day, so that helped. But it was just for my time management, it made the most sense because technically I could have went ahead and shipped that package, the one that was, because she bought People We Meet and Fourth Wing. So that was technically done. However, I wanted to go ahead and annotate that second Fourth Wing copy. So I went ahead and did that to get it knocked out, if that makes sense. So just doing the things together that make the most sense together. Same thing with like filming content. So I've been trying, like if I set up my area to film, trying to be ready to go ahead and film all the things that I need to get done. I've really been struggling with content, honestly, because I feel like I'm limited to the weekend because that's the time that I have the best lighting to be able to film and shoot like photos, but also on the weekends needing to get caught up on Etsy, on, products, YouTube videos, all of those things. So it's really just about finding a balance and being able to make it work for you. And that's been hard. Another thing that I feel like, and I'm definitely guilty of this, is make sure you're celebrating your small wins. So I feel like we live in a culture where it's like you have to be go, go, go. Like you hit one goal and then it's like, okay, but what's the next goal? Remember to take time to celebrate where you are now. It's not just about the end goal, it's about the journey of it. So celebrate those small wins. Remind yourself that you are growing and you're changing and you're learning things every single day that's going to benefit you. And I think just slowing that down and just taking that time to have that gratitude and that thought process is really going to help. So that's probably the thing I struggle with the most. And that's what I'm going to focus on because there are so many things that are going well. And sometimes I get so caught up in the things that I'm not doing well, on the things that I'm struggling with, on the fact that I don't have time to do XYZ, instead of basking in the moment that I have now, because that is a beautiful thing, honestly, to be able to, have this small business and being able to share my experience and have this platform that I'm creating, and I enjoy that. And then also I've been making small business vlogs in a short format, and I've been sharing it on Facebook so that way my friends and family can see it. And all of my coworkers have been saying, oh my goodness, I love watching your journey. And they're like, I loved how you did, whatever it was in the video. And I was like, oh, that was a small thing to me, but to hear somebody say that they enjoyed watching that means the world. So just take the time, be kind to yourself. That doesn't give you an excuse to slack off, but kindness to yourself goes a long way. Another lesson that luckily I didn't have to learn the hard way. I'd watched some videos and I picked this up from them. So take this from me. As you're starting out, do not buy a bunch of things before you know how they're going to be used or what their purpose is going to be. So for instance, I wanted this beautiful setup, right? I wanted this amazing office. However, I didn't really know what direction my shop was going to go in, what was going to sell well. So I truly just repurposed things that I had in my home or that I had, laying around the house and used that for storage. And now I've seen like what sells and what I actually need to expand on, and that's going to drive what I need to buy. Versus if I bought it from the beginning, I would have a lot of storage for stickers that I really don't need because my stickers have not been selling. What sells are the annotation kits. So that means I need a bigger container than I would have originally bought. So I'm hoping to expand those, and not saying stickers don't do at all, right? Because I do send stickers in my annotation kits. However, it's not the main focus. Also, I didn't realize how good annotated books would do. So I really want to add some more shelving on the wall to be able to put more books up there. So there are certain things that you'll figure out along the way. And that's why I don't recommend just buying a whole bunch of stuff. When I first started out too, I bought poly mailers, and I really don't like poly mailers apparently. So luckily I bought just a sample pack, and I do use those for local orders, especially people that I'm going to be giving it to them in person. I'll use a poly mailer, but I actually like the bubble mailers for my books, and I had to pay attention to what size you're buying, right? Because some of my smaller books will fit in my smaller bubble mailer, but when I bought more, I actually went up a size to make sure it would accommodate all my books. Same with my rigid mailers, just knowing, what actually sells so I know which packaging I need. So the first time I bought just a smaller set of I bought a smaller set of rigid mailers. And after I saw one that I liked them, two, they worked well, three, they kept my product safe, I bought a bigger pack the second time. So I could have probably saved money that first time if I bought a bigger set. However, I didn't want to waste the money if they weren't going to serve the purpose that I needed. So I'm happy with the route that I took with that, because it led me not to have to return things, which I have had to do, and that's okay. But if I can save myself the hassle of having to return things, it's just better off. So I truly appreciate you coming along this journey with me, listening to some of the lessons I've learned. I'm sure I'm going to think of other lessons that I could have talked about. So please comment below, what are some lessons that you have learned, or what are some things you're worried about with starting your small business? I would love to know and be able to chat with people, because like I said, this is only my 5th month. I'm still learning, growing, evolving, and I think there's no better place than to learn alongside of you. So please comment below. Also, like and subscribe. It helps me out. It shows me that you do enjoy this content and what I'm putting out, and it helps me to plan what to do in the future. So I'm hoping the next video is me kind of making some products, and hopefully I can take you along for that. All right, thanks guys, have a great one.